Good morning. Today, we're going to take a deep dive into a fascinating tool used by scientists to explore the invisible world of cells. This tool is microscopy, which allows us to see things that are too small to be seen with our eyes. Without microscopes, we wouldn't know much about the tiny world inside our bodies or other living organisms. We'll look at different types of microscopes that scientists use to study cells and understand how they help to discover things that change our world. Now you might wonder, why is microscopy so important in biology? Well, everything in life starts with cells. Our bodies are made of trillions of cells, and understanding how they work is essential to understanding how living things grow, develop, and even get sick. Cells are tiny. Most of them are so small that we can see them without help. Microscopes let us see these cells in incredible detail, helping scientists study cell structures, behaviors, and even diseases. There are two main types of microscopes we're going to look at today: light microscopes and electron microscopes. Both types help us see different things, but they use different technologies. Let's start with light microscopes. Light microscopes are the most common type of microscope. As the name suggests, they use light to create images of objects. Here's how they work. Light passes through a specimen, like a thin slice of a leaf or a piece of skin, and the lenses in the microscope help magnify that light so we can see the object. What can we see with light microscopes? You can see the shapes of cells and their large structures like the nucleus, mitochondria, and the cell membrane. What's great about light microscopes? They're not only affordable, but also allow us to observe live cells in action. We can watch cells dividing or moving, which is amazing. However, light microscopes have limitations. For example, they can help us see tiny molecules inside cells like proteins or viruses. There are different types of light microscopes, and they each serve a unique purpose. Brightfield microscopy is the simplest and most common. It allows us to see basic cell structures, especially after staining cells with dyes. Fluorescence microscopy takes things up a notch. It uses special glowing dyes that light up under certain colors of light. This allows us to see specific parts of a cell. For example, scientists can use this to track where a particular protein is inside a cell. You might have heard about this technique in cancer research or when scientists track disease causing microbes. Confocal microscopy is even more advanced. This microscope uses a laser to scan different layers of a specimen and creates 3D images of the cells. It's like peeling back the layers of an onion to look at the inside. Now let's take a look at two other interesting techniques in light microscopy. Phase contrast microscopy. This type of microscope is great for looking at live, unstained cells. It enhances the contrast, making it easier to see cell structures without having to stain them. It's often used to watch living cells in action, such as tracking how cells divide or move because it doesn't require them to be fixed or dyed. Differential interference contrast microscopy or DIC. DIC works similarly to phase contrast, but it provides even more contrast and 3D-like effects. It allows us to see cells with high detail and clear edges, making it look almost like a 3D image. The IC is used to observe living cells in more detail, especially those with complex structures like cell membranes and mitochondria. Now let's move on to electron microscopes. These microscopes are incredibly powerful. Instead of using light, they use electrons, which are tiny particles that have much more energy than light. Because electrons have a much shorter wavelength, electron microscopes can see objects that are much smaller than what light microscopes can see, even at the level of individual molecules. With electron microscopes, scientists can look at tiny details inside cells that you can see with a light microscope. There are two main types of electron microscopes: transmission electron microscope or TEM. This microscope works by sending electrons through thin slices of the specimen. TEM gives us detailed images of the inside of cells. It's like taking a photograph of the parts of inside a cell, such as the nucleus, ribosomes, and mitochondria. Scanning electron microscope or SEM. SEM is different. It doesn't look inside the cells, it scans the surface. This creates 3D images of the cell surface, helping scientists study things like cilia, microvilli, or even bacteria. SEM helps us see the outside of cells in much greater detail than light microscopes can. So let's quickly compare light and electron microscopes. Light microscopes are great for observing live cells. They're easy to use and cheaper, but they have a lower resolution, meaning you can see the smallest details. Electron microscopes are far more powerful. They allow us to see tiny details, even molecules and viruses. However, they are expensive, complicated to use, and can only be used with dead cells. Both have their strengths and are used in different situations depending on what scientists need to study. Now, there's something even more amazing called super resolution microscopy. Normally, light microscopes are emitted or limited because of the size of the light waves. But with new techniques, scientists can break these limits. For example, STED or stimulated emission depletion microscopy. This is a technique that allows scientists to see cells at nanoscale resolution, meaning they can look at things even smaller than individual molecules. Another one is structured illumination microscopy or SIM. SIM uses a special pattern of light to trick the microscope into seeing beyond the normal limits of light. It can produce images with a much higher resolution than traditional light microscopes. It's like using a super powered magnifying glass to see the most intricate details of cells. Let's take a look at some real-life examples of how microscopy is used. First is through live cell imaging. This is to monitor cellular processes in real time. Another one is protein localization. It is to identify where specific proteins are within the cell. Third one is the organelle visualization. It uses to examine cellular compartments like mitochondria, and the plasmic reticulum or ER, and the nucleus. And lastly, tissue analysis. This is used to study tissue architecture in greater detail. As amazing as microscopy is, there are some challenges scientists face. First is sample preparation. Preparing samples can be tricky. For electron microscopes, cells need to be fixed and dried, which means we can observe live cells. Next is cost and complexity. Advanced microscopes, like electron microscopes, are very expensive and difficult to use. Not every laboratory has access to them. Lastly is the data overload. Sometimes microscopes produce so much data that it's hard to analyze all of it. This is especially true with high resolution techniques like resolution microscopy, where we can get lots of images and need powerful computers to analyze them. To wrap up, microscopes are essential tools that help scientists look at the world of cells, viruses, and proteins. From light microscopes to electron microscopes, each type of microscope gives a different perspective and helps us make incredible discoveries about the tiny world inside all living things. As scientists continue to develop new techniques, our ability to see the world will get more powerful. Who knows what we'll discover next? Thank you for listening. If you have questions, I'd love to hear them now. Thank you, and this is your teacher, Madeline. See you in the next module.